August 14th, 1945, the unimaginable horror of World War II ends all at once. The last of 16 million young, triumphant, and apparently quite horny American troops come home from the war all at once, step off the trains and the buses in their hometowns all at once, reunite with hometown friends for a beer or two all at once, reunite with their spouses, or get married all at once, hop in the sack all at once. And right on schedule in 1946, the epic and legendary American baby boom is underway, and it will continue for 19 years. Generational dynamics are based upon three now heavily researched and pretty much universally embraced truths. Truth number one, between the time that each of us in this theater and in this nation is born and the time that we leave the full-time classroom and get into adulthood, usually in our early 20s, in that formative years window of our lives, you and I are going to form most of the core values and the core beliefs that we will keep for life. Yeah, we'll change, yeah, we'll evolve, but those core values will remain largely intact. And they will be burned into us based upon the unique times that we witness as we're coming of age and the teachings that we absorb from our own older generations of parents, educators, religious leaders, and others. And those people about our age who share the same formative years' times and teachings will end up sharing the same core values, and by sharing the same core values, we become a generation. Truth number two, and this is why the topic is so hot, life in America in the past century has changed so often, and when it has changed, it seems to have changed so sharply into new directions. And thanks to modern medicine and science, we are now living in this country an average of 30 years longer this year than we were living 100 years ago. And so for the first time in our country's history, our life expectancy has room for 5 living generations, each of whose formative years were a little bit different from the other 4, and so each of whose core values are a little different from the other 4. And truth number 3 that explains this whole generations thing is what brings it right down to the brutal bottom line of our day-to-day lives. Those powerful core values that each generation forms during its unique formative years are now going to exert remarkable influence over that generation's minute-by-minute, month-by-month, lifelong decision-making. Consumer decisions, career choices, lifestyle preferences, personal relationships, personal behavior. Here is the starting point of generational study. Say hello to America's 5 living generations. The GI generation, born between the years 1901 and 1926, they've been described as the generation that saved the world and then built the greatest nation in the history of the planet. Trying to follow that act is the silent generation, born from 1927 to 1945. Their generation's unique formative years will be, by and large, the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and into the very early 60s. The silent generation did not seriously rock the boat. That would be left to our next generation, the baby boomers. Born from 1946 to 1964, the generation whose motto once was, "Never trust anyone over 30, would now like to revise that. Generation X, mysterious, bewildering, why are they so different from all of our generations? Gen X. Born from 1965 to 1981, they will have a childhood passage like no other, the most materially comfortable childhood passage in American history, and for so many of them, the most emotionally difficult childhood passage in American history. And finally, America's next great generation, and they are going to be great, but right now in their 20s, they're driving their bosses batty. The millennial generation. Do not call us Generation Y. Do not call us echo boomers. So 5 living American generations. And in this program, we will showcase 3. The boomers, Gen X, and America's next great generation, the millennials.